I spent 3 months looking for a hallway mirror. That's something people don't tell you about moving into your first apartment alone. It's not the rent or the silence at night that gets to you. It's the small, ordinary gaps. No mirror by the front door. No place to check yourself before walking out into the world. You just leave, trusting that you look the way you remember looking. I found it on one of those local resale apps. The kind where people post furniture from dead relatives' homes and overpriced IKEA shelves they used for 6 months. I wasn't looking for anything specific, just something tall enough, simple enough, and cheap. The listing had one photo. A full-length mirror, dark wood frame, leaning against a beige wall. The description said, "Antique mirror, good condition, pick up only." The price was $40. What I noticed, and almost scrolled past it, was the seller's name. The listing was posted by someone called Maren Eld. I didn't know anyone by that name. I don't know why I even paused on it. Maybe it was the way the name looked on screen. Something about it felt like I'd already read it before. Like encountering a word you know you've seen in a book but can't place the context. I messaged the seller, asked if the mirror was still available. The reply came back within a minute. Just one word. Yes. I asked for the address. They sent it. A house about 20 minutes from my apartment, on a street I'd driven past but never actually turned down. We agreed I'd pick it up Saturday morning. When I got there, the house was ordinary. 1 story, pale siding, a lawn that had been mowed recently but not edged. There was no car in the driveway. The mirror was already outside, leaning against the garage door, wrapped loosely in a moving blanket. No one came out. I waited for a minute, then 2. I texted the seller. "I'm here." The reply came back. "It's out front, already paid through the app. It's yours." I loaded it into my car, drove home, set it against the hallway wall because I didn't have the hardware to mount it yet. And that was it. For about a week, it was just a mirror. The first thing I noticed wasn't visual. It was a feeling. I'd come home from work, drop my bag, and catch a glance of myself as I passed through the hallway, and for just a fraction of a second, the reflection felt late. Not in any way I could describe or prove, just a sensation that the image of me appeared in the glass a beat after I arrived in front of it, like a video call with a slight delay. I told myself it was because the mirror was positioned at a slight angle and my eyes were adjusting. That was a perfectly reasonable explanation. Then I started noticing something else. Small things. I'd walk past the mirror wearing a grey shirt, and the reflection would look not different exactly, but like a slightly darker shade. I'd stop, look directly, and it would be fine. The same shirt, the same grey. I'd tell myself it was the hallway lighting, which was just a single overhead bulb that gave everything a yellowish cast. But one evening I was brushing my teeth in the bathroom, and I came out into the hallway, and the mirror caught me in full view. I was wearing a black t-shirt and boxers, and I stopped. Not because the reflection was wrong, because my hair was parted on the opposite side. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's how mirrors work. They flip the image. If I part my hair on the left, it shows on the right. I know that. That's not what I mean. I was standing there looking at my reflection, and the part was on the same side, not flipped. My left was its left. That shouldn't happen. I leaned in, touched my hair. The reflection touched its hair. Same hand, same side. Everything matched, and that was the problem. It was matching too directly, like someone facing me, mimicking me, instead of a reflection. I stood there for maybe 10 seconds. Then I turned the hallway light off and went to bed. I didn't think about it again until the next morning. I was getting dressed and I passed the mirror and it was normal, reversed, the way it should be. I checked twice. My left was its right. I actually laughed a little. I told myself I'd been half asleep the night before, that I'd confused myself, that the brain does strange things when it's tired, and I probably just had the image flipped in my memory. I believed that completely, for about 4 days. On Thursday, I came home from the grocery store and set the bags on the kitchen counter. I hadn't passed the mirror yet. The kitchen is to the right of the entrance, and the hallway is straight ahead. But as I was putting things in the fridge, I heard something. A very faint sound from the hallway. Not a knock or a creak. More like fabric shifting. Like someone adjusting their weight from one foot to the other. I stopped. Listened. Nothing. I walked to the hallway. I looked in the mirror. My reflection was there. Normal. Reversed correctly. Wearing exactly what I was wearing. I stared at it for a long time. Then I looked at the floor, at the base of the mirror. There were faint impressions on the carpet. 2 small ovals, the kind your feet make if you stand in one place for a while. They were on my side of the mirror. I told myself they were mine, that I'd stood in front of the mirror that morning before leaving, and the carpet just hadn't bounced back. But I hadn't stood there that morning. I'd been running late, and I'd left through the kitchen side door. That night, I went back to the resale app to look at the original listing. I'm not sure what I was hoping to find. Maybe more photos, maybe a description I'd missed. But the listing was gone. That wasn't unusual. Sellers often delete posts after the item is sold, but when I searched for the seller profile, Maren Eld, it didn't exist, not deleted, not deactivated. The app showed no record of that account at all. I checked my messages. The conversation was still there, but the seller's name now showed as unknown user. The messages were intact. The address, the yes, the it's yours, but the name was gone. I told myself accounts get purged, people delete apps. It didn't mean anything. That weekend, I decided to clean the mirror. I used a glass cleaner and a microfiber cloth. As I wiped the surface, I noticed something on the back of the frame. Small handwritten text, in pencil, faded. I tilted the mirror carefully to read it. It said, "Property of M. Eld. Do not return." I stared at that for a long time. Do not return. Not do not sell. Not do not discard. Do not return. Like someone anticipated that whoever ended up with it might try to bring it back. I searched for the name Maren Eld online. Nothing. No social media, no obituary, no records. I tried different spellings. Maren, Eld, Eld. Nothing that matched. I even searched the address where I'd picked up the mirror. The property record showed it was owned by a couple with a completely different last name. They'd lived there for 9 years. On Monday, something happened that I still can't explain. I was sitting on the couch in the living room, which has a partial line of sight to the hallway mirror if the angle is right. I was eating dinner, watching something on my laptop. I looked up for no reason. And in the mirror, I could see the hallway, but I couldn't see myself. The couch was reflected. The lamp next to it. The edge of the kitchen doorway. But the space where I was sitting was empty. I got up. I walked to the mirror. My reflection appeared normally as I approached. I went back to the couch. Sat in the same position. I looked in the mirror again. I was there. Reflected properly. Sitting on the couch, holding my fork. I decided I'd imagined it. The angle was wrong the first time. Or the light was catching the glass in a way that obscured that part of the image. I said that to myself deliberately, out loud, like I was coaching a nervous kid. It was just the angle. But I started avoiding the mirror after that, not consciously. Not at first. I just began using the kitchen side door more. I'd get ready in the bathroom and leave without walking through the hallway. I rearranged my mornings so I never had to pass it. I didn't decide to do this. I just noticed one day that I hadn't looked in the hallway mirror in almost a week. And during that week, I slept badly. Not nightmares. Just a sense right before falling asleep that someone was standing in the hallway. Not a sound, not a shadow, a spatial awareness. Like the air in the apartment had shifted to accommodate another body. On Friday, I decided to do something rational. I set up my phone on a shelf across from the mirror and recorded the hallway for 8 hours while I was at work. I told myself if the footage showed nothing, I'd stop thinking about it. I'd accept that I was stressed, or not sleeping well, or adjusting to living alone, and I'd move on. I got home that evening, sat down, opened the video, scrubbed through it. 8 hours of an empty hallway and a mirror reflecting an empty hallway. Nothing. No movement, no anomaly. I felt relieved. Genuinely relieved. I laughed at myself. Then I noticed something. In the recording, at the far end of the hallway, there's a small table where I keep my keys. On the table is a small potted succulent. In the real hallway, the succulent is on the left side of the table. In the mirror's reflection in the video, it was also on the left side. It should have been on the right. I paused the video. I looked at the hallway. The succulent was on the left. I looked in the mirror. In the mirror's reflection, the succulent was on the right. Correct. Reversed as it should be. But in the recording for all 8 hours, the reflection showed it on the left, the same side as reality, unflipped. As if, while I was gone, the mirror wasn't reflecting. It was showing. I rewound the video to the beginning. The moment I left the apartment and closed the front door, the reflection in the mirror adjusted. Not quickly. Not like a glitch. Slowly, over about 10 seconds, the image in the mirror shifted. The succulent drifted to the left side, the jacket hanging on the wall hook shifted to the other shoulder. The hallway runner rug's fringe fell the wrong direction. Everything in the mirror became a direct copy instead of a reflection, and it stayed that way, for 8 hours. Then, about 40 seconds before I came home, before I opened the door, before I could possibly have been visible or audible, the image shifted back. Everything reversed to its correct mirror orientation, like it knew I was coming. I sat on the couch for a very long time after that. I should have gotten rid of it. I know that. Anyone listening to this is probably screaming that. But I need to explain something about the way fear works when it's inside your own home, attached to an object you brought in yourself. You don't treat it the way you'd treat a threat. You treat it the way you'd treat a symptom. I didn't think the mirror was haunted. I thought something was wrong with me, that I was seeing things, that the recording was corrupted, or my phone camera had some kind of lens distortion that affected how the image appeared. I spent an entire evening researching how phone cameras process reflections. I found nothing useful, but the act of researching made me feel like I was in control. On Sunday, I woke up and went to the bathroom. When I came out, I walked through the hallway without thinking about it, and I stopped, because the mirror was reflecting me. But I was wearing different clothes, in a t-shirt and sweatpants. In the mirror, I was wearing a button-down shirt, a dark blue one, tucked into jeans. My hair was combed differently. I looked more put together, like I was about to leave for something. A dinner, an interview, a date. I looked down at myself. White t-shirt, sweatpants, looked back at the mirror. Button down, jeans. The reflection was standing exactly as I was standing, same posture, same position of the hands. It wasn't doing anything different. It was just dressed differently, like it had somewhere to be, and I didn't. I raised my right hand. The reflection raised its left hand. Correct mirror behavior. I touched my face. It touched its face. Every motion was perfectly synchronized, but the clothes were wrong. And the face. I leaned in. The face was slightly different. Not dramatically, not like a different person, but the skin was clearer. The under-eye circles I'd been carrying for weeks were gone. The jawline looked marginally more defined, like I'd been sleeping well and drinking water and going outside. It was me, but it was a version of me that was doing better. I stood there for so long that my legs started to ache. Then the reflection changed. Not suddenly. The button-down shirt seemed to soften, and the color drained, and over the course of maybe 15 seconds, it became a white t-shirt. The jeans loosened into sweatpants. The face dulled back to mine, like the mirror had caught itself and corrected. That afternoon I searched Maren Eld one more time. I don't know why I tried an anagram solver. Maybe I was desperate and grasping at patterns. But I typed the name in, and one of the results made my chest feel hollow. Maren Eld. Rearranged. N. Mudler. Nothing. Ren model. Nothing. Namer led. Nothing useful. Real mend. Close to something but meaningless. Then I dropped the space. Maren Eld. And I ran it again. Renamed L. Lender Rem. Enamel Drive. And then, name Elder. And then, Le Remant. Nothing was quite clicking. But I kept trying, because the feeling wouldn't go away. The feeling that the name meant something I wasn't seeing. I wrote every combination on a notepad. Maren, Eld. I stared at the letters until they stopped looking like language. And then, for no particular reason, I wrote my own name underneath. My name is Daniel Emmer. I stared at both names. Maren Eld. Daniel Emmer. They don't share the same letters. They're not anagrams of each other. I'd been wrong. It was a coincidence, a dead end. But then I counted the letters. Maren Eld, 8 letters. Daniel Emmer, 9 letters. I looked at the difference. The letter I had that the name didn't, I. Maren Eld plus I equals Daniel Emder. Every single letter. Rearranged. My hands were shaking when I put the notepad down. I told myself it was a coincidence. Names are just letters. You can make connections out of anything if you look hard enough. I told myself that 5 or 6 times. But the thing about a pattern is that once you see it, your brain won't release it. It becomes the grid you lay over everything. And now I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about a mirror that was listed under an anagram of my name missing the letter I. A mirror that, when I wasn't home, stopped reflecting and started copying. A mirror that showed a version of me that looked more alive than I felt. A mirror whose previous owner wrote, "Do not return," on the back of the frame. I called in sick to work on Monday. I spent the day in the apartment, but I didn't go near the hallway. I stayed in my bedroom with the door closed. I ordered food and had it left at the front door, which I retrieved through the kitchen side entrance. I told myself I was being careful while I figured things out. But the truth is, I was afraid that if I walked past the mirror, it wouldn't show me at all. Around 3 p.m., my phone buzzed. A notification from the resale app. Someone had sent me a message. I opened it. It was from unknown user, the same dead profile that had sold me the mirror. The message said, "How is it fitting in?" I typed back immediately, "Who is this?" No reply. I typed, "Who is Marineld?" No reply. I typed, "What is this mirror?" 3 dots appeared. Then it disappeared. Then it appeared again. Then a message came through. It said, "You already know. You've been looking at the answer every day." I didn't respond. I locked my phone and put it face down on the bed. My heart was beating in a way that felt wrong. Not fast, but hard. Like each beat was deliberate. Like something was pressing on my chest from the inside. That evening, I broke my own rule. I opened the bedroom door. I walked down the hallway, stood in front of the mirror. My reflection was there. Normal. Same clothes, same tired face, same parted hair, correctly reversed. Everything as it should be. But the hallway behind me in the reflection was different. In reality, the hallway behind me was empty. The table with the succulent, the coat hook, the front door. In the reflection, there was someone standing at the far end of the hallway. Just a figure, not moving, not facing me. They were facing the front door like they were about to leave. Their build was similar to mine. Their clothes were similar to mine. But they were standing where no one was standing in the real hallway. I turned around. No one there. I looked back at the mirror. The figure was still there, and now they were turning, slowly, toward me, toward the mirror. Their faces came into view in increments. A chin, a mouth, a nose. My chin, my mouth, my nose. And their eyes. The same as mine, except that they looked rested, clear, focused, like someone who'd been sleeping well and drinking water and going outside and doing all the things I hadn't done in weeks. The figure in the mirror raised one hand. I hadn't moved. My arms were at my sides. The figure raised one hand and placed it flat against the inside surface of the glass. And it smiled. Not menacingly. Not with malice, with patience. Like it had been waiting for me to finally stand still long enough to be seen. I stepped back. The figure didn't. It stayed where it was, hand on the glass, smiling softly with my face. My reflection, the one directly in front of me, moved with me as I stepped back. But the figure behind it didn't. There were 2 of me in the mirror now. One reflecting, one standing. I went back to the bedroom, closed the door. I didn't come out again until morning. When I woke up Tuesday, the first thing I did was check my phone. There were 2 new messages. One from my mother. "Haven't heard from you in a few days. Is everything okay?" One from a co-worker. "Hey Daniel, just wanted to check. You left kind of suddenly yesterday. Are you good? I hadn't gone to work yesterday. I'd called in sick. I hadn't left the apartment." I read the co-worker's message again. "You left kind of suddenly yesterday." I typed back, "What do you mean? I wasn't in yesterday." The reply came fast. "You were here until about 2. You said you weren't feeling well and left. Don't you remember?" I did not remember. I had not gone to work. I had stayed in my bedroom with the door closed and ordered food through the side entrance, and avoided the hallway. I was certain of this. I checked my phone's location history. It showed that at 8:47 a.m. the previous day, my phone had been at my apartment. At 9:15 a.m., it had traveled to my office. It stayed there until 2:03 p.m., then returned home. According to my phone, I had gone to work. According to my memory, I had not. I sat on the edge of the bed, and I thought about the mirror showing a version of me that looked healthier, more functional, more present. I thought about the figure that moved independently. I thought about the name. My name, rearranged, missing the letter I. And I thought about what it means when a mirror stops reflecting and starts replacing. I haven't left the bedroom in 2 days now. I've heard the front door open and close twice. I've heard footsteps in the hallway. I've heard the jingle of my keys being lifted off the table. Last night, I heard my phone ring in the kitchen. My phone, which was in my hand, silent, with no incoming calls. This morning I got a text from my mother. It said, "So good to see you yesterday. You look great. You seem like you're really doing well." I haven't seen my mother in 3 weeks. 10 minutes ago, I heard humming from the hallway. A melody I used to hum as a kid. Something my mother would sing while making dinner. I haven't hummed that in years. I had forgotten it entirely until I heard it coming from the other side of my bedroom door. Whatever is in the mirror isn't trapped in it anymore. I think it's been stepping out while I sleep. I think it's been living my life on the days I don't. I think it's healthier than me because it's taking the parts of my life that I've been neglecting. The routines, the relationships, the small daily things that make a person real to other people. And I think the reason the listing said "do not return" is because the last person who had this mirror tried to bring it back. And by the time they did, no one recognized them as the original. Because someone else had already been showing up. Someone who looked just like them, only better. Only more present. Only more real. I'm sitting on my bed. The bedroom door is closed. I can hear someone in the kitchen making coffee, the way I make it. 2 scoops, no sugar, a little too much water. I can hear them set the mug down on the counter the same way I do, a little too hard, so it makes that dull ceramic sound. I'm going to open the door. I don't know what happens when 2 versions of the same person stand in the same hallway. I don't know if the mirror even matters anymore. But I need to see its face. Because the thing that scares me, the thing that's been growing in the back of my mind for days, that it looks like me. That when my mother said I looked great, she meant it. When my coworker said I was at work, I was productive and fine. When the mirror showed a better version of me, it wasn't lying. The thing in the hallway isn't a monster. It's what I was supposed to become. And I think it's almost finished.